now for the greatest show in the history of great fucking shows.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Okay, here we are up in the studio, 48th floor, 40 degrees out. We're crushing some beers. Beers with Brokeass is happy to have my brother here, Tommy Boy, co-hosting. And I got a warrior, Mr. Gary Ryan.
Thank you for having me. And before I begin, I'd like to say it's an honor to be on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Coast Salish, unceded territory.
Nice.
For this episode, I think I'd like to call it Good Grief.
Yeah.
And good grief, the term good grief came out in 1900, and it was a euphemism for good God. And in 1950, that Charlie Brown
Stole it.
came out, and I had an auntie that every time something happened, she'd say, good grief. And I'd like to title this episode Good Grief with a question mark, because it's a oxymoron. There's nothing good about grief.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely do that. We can get our editor to chop something up and have a cool picture with us as well. I just want to go into let's go 215. Obviously, the last couple weeks has been, terrible with what's going on in the news, and it's going to end up being in the thousands. What's your take on that, Gary?
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. It's just so heartbreaking with all the, unmarked graves that are found in Indian residential schools. It's just brutal. There's 751 is just found in Saskatchewan, and 250 in Kamloops. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's estimate 10,000 missing children. It's genocide.
Yeah. Wow. I think 100% they have to come out and call it what it is. We're talking, these are schools where, we went to school, and I don't know one person that died at school.
Right.
Yeah. You, in these schools, there's died of this, died of an accident, died of drowning. Huge amounts of people were dying.
They went there, they never came back.
Yep.
All of my brothers and sisters went to Indian residential schools, and everything that happened subsequent to that is a direct result of being in an Indian residential school.
For sure, 100%.
We all made it out of Indian residential school, thank God. We did, but the trauma and abuse and everything that we've endured in the Indian residential schools subsequently led to alcoholism, drug abuse, everything else. I lost my first brother, Ricky, when he was only 25 years old. He was murdered. He was shot in the head with a .357 Magnum in 1979, and the Vancouver Police Department ruled it as a suicide, even though the bullet entered the left side of his skull and came out to the right. And they did a shoddy investigation, and they didn't do neighborhood inquiries or anything. And my opinion then is what the unofficial version was, the only good Indian is a dead Indian.
Yeah.
They never did any investigation whatsoever. And he is 25. He is young, tough, good looking, and intelligent individual.
That's terrible.
He out of all my brothers, I think I miss the most.
Yeah, for sure.
If he was still, he should still be alive, but
yeah, that's terrible. And that was pretty common back then.
Yeah.
If you're not white, they don't really look into things.
Yeah.
And they still don't.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So The Vancouver Police Department did a shoddy investigation. I requested the files for my brother's murder through the Freedom of Investigations Act, and I got these nothing files that everything was blacked out. You could see that the Vancouver Police Department didn't do no investigation whatsoever. There was nothing. I filed a complaint with the independent police commissioner, and nothing happened there. There was just nothing happened, and it was all swept under the rug, and it's a sad state for my brother Ricky.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was only 17 when he was murdered. And the thing about grief is what I know about grief is that it's different for every individual. I was at a young age. It took me a full year to finally fully comprehend that he was never coming back.
Yeah.
Never coming back. And when I lost my brother Jamie in June of 1993, he died of an overdose with China White was going on in downtown East Side, and people were dropping like flies. And he died in June of 1993, and he was my second brother that I lost. And when I lost him, it was instantaneous. I fully realized that he was never coming back. Yeah. And it was just so devastating.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, bro.
Oh, so many, and I'm just getting started. You know, after that, I lost my sister Gwen. She basically drank herself to death. She was my half sister, and my parents gave her such a hard time because, well, she was conceived when my dad was in jail, so there was that shame and neglect because. You know, she came from a different father than the rest of our siblings. You know, all of us had the same mom and dad except Gwen. And so my mom and dad were physically, emotionally, mentally abusive to her, and she ran away and went up north, up to Hazelton, and she ended up drinking herself to death.
How old was she?
Oh, God, she was young. She was would have been about 30.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. And her son, Navarone, is the one who, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but her son, Navarone, is the one that was murdered by the transit police down here in 2014, December 2014.
Yeah, and that was just at the Safeway, like 1 block away.
Yeah.
And, you know, from the studio here.
The sad part about that is that Navarone came down from Hazelton for my brother's Bobby's funeral, and he passed away December the 4th in 2014, and he ended up drinking himself to death, and he knew he was drinking himself to death. Yeah. He had money coming in, and he'd drink a 40-pounder of vodka every day for a year before he died. Wow. And that was after my mom died, and he was a mother's boy.
Like me.
You know, I never was. My mom kicked me out when I was 17, and I never went back. But Bobby was a mama's boy, and she passed away in 2011, and he just couldn't take it. He lasted a couple of years. My sister took care of him for a couple of years and made sure he didn't drink. But after that, he goes, Gary, I know I'm killing myself. I know I'm killing myself. That's what I'm doing. I'm committing suicide, and that's what I want to do. And he did it. It took Bobby a year to drink himself to death.
Wow, it's terrible.
My brother Greg passed away in 2008 due to drugs and alcohol, and he more or less knew that that's a road that he was going on, and he was okay with it. it's sad but true. And like I said earlier, everything is direct result of being in Indian residential schools.
100%. That's exactly what I was gonna say. You know, if you can, you just can connect the dots.
Yeah.
So,
Well, childhood trauma is really, that's what starts all this stuff.
It is, and it's
You know?
intergenerational, and
Yeah.
it goes down the line, and it's just brutal. And so many friends that I've had that have passed away. I want to give a shout out to my late buddy Marty Bob. I met him up in Port Hardy, and I was dating a girl at the time, and I met him in a beer and wine, and he was standing behind me, and I'm paying for my alcohol, and I go to the cashier, and I go, "Do you take Visa?" And she goes, "Yes, yeah, we do." And Marty's standing right behind me and goes, "Bragger." so I'm with my girlfriend.
yeah,
at the time.
back in the day, it was hard to get a visa. You were successful if you had a visa.
That's awesome.
So Marty's by himself, and I'm with my girlfriend, and he comes out. He goes, "Can I hang out with you guys?" And I go, "Well, let me ask my girlfriend. We're going over to her place." She says, "Sure." And he goes, "Okay." So Marty came over, and we're there drinking, and I go, "Marty, where are you from?" He goes, "Spuzzum." I go, "Spuzzum? Where's that?" He goes, "Well, it's beyond Hope and just before Hell's Gate." And then he looks at me and he goes, "Do you arm wrestle?" I look at him, and he's like, skinny little bugger. I go, "Yeah, I arm wrestle." He goes, "Let's arm wrestle." And what a tough motherfucker he was.
That's
Oh,
awesome. Did you
fuck,
beat
he
him?
was tough. I beat him, yeah. But no,
barely?
I beat him on my left, and he beat me on my right, because my left is stronger than my right.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was natural born lefty, but when I was in Indian residential school, they made me be a righty. So
Yeah.
I've always been tougher on my left. But yeah, so he was a tough bugger.
that
And the
sounds
thing
awesome.
about Marty, that also what I want to say is the guy would give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
You know, he'd go out to logging camps, he'd come back and he'd spend his money, he'd buy rounds of beer for people that he didn't know, and
Yeah.
you know, he was so generous.
Loved
he didn't
life.
he just lived life to the moment, you know. And
Yeah.
he ended up drowning in the Fraser River.
Oh,
And
jeez.
on a fishing, yeah. Him and his buddy went out and they were drinking and, you know, being stupid and fuck. Yeah.
That sucks.
He ended up being drowned. And I want to give a shout out to my brother Neil. We hung around for 20 years, and Neil loved me to death. He loved me, man. Not only that, he would have took a bullet for me.
Yeah.
He would have took a bullet for me. He he was quite an outstanding individual.
Did he drive bus with you? Or
He,
like, how'd
he
you
was
meet
a
him?
bus driver. Yeah, we hung out for 20 years, and
That's awesome.
when I first met him, he was like an apple pie eating guy. You know, he had, you know, and then he had meningitis, and it just about killed him.
Oh, wow.
And his mom said that after he had meningitis, he was never the same again. He just was never the
In
same.
a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
no.
Yeah,
Wow.
no. And him and I, we just clicked.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we just clicked, and
That's awesome.
like we started hanging out. And like I said, that guy would take a bullet for me, and it was a sad story. He ended up with cancer, and he'd self-medicate
Yeah.
with heroin to take the pain away. And he OD'd several times, and one time he OD'd with my late brother Bobby in the alleyway down Vancouver East Side,
wow.
you know. And but the last time he OD'd was in May of 2015 on a $10 fentanyl bag,
Oh,
and
man.
nobody could do anything for him. And the guy was an outstanding individual.
Yeah. So you have a lot of basically a lot of heartache here.
Oh man, you know, I what I went through, I wouldn't wish on anybody, on anybody what I've been through. 4 brothers, my mom and my dad, countless friends. When my late brother Bobby died in December 2014, it felt like all 4 of my brothers died at the same time. Ricky, Bobby, Jamie, and Greg. It felt like they all died at the same time, and it was compound grief. I could have very easily drank myself to death.
Yeah,
and I could have very easily. And I went to my family doctor, and she goes, "How are you coping?" And I said, "Well, I'm drinking a little bit more than I normally do, but I said I'll be okay." But she reported it to work and to Great West Life, and
Well, you're a bus driver,
I'm a bus driver.
they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to step in there. But
They stepped in and they put me on a 2-year enforcement program to abstain from alcohol for 2 years, which is a good thing.
yeah, how did you feel while you're doing that?
Oh, I felt great.
Awesome.
I felt great. You know, it's Native people haven't been. We've only been on the West Coast here. We've only been introduced to alcohol within the last 300 years, which is why we have a low tolerance to alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Chinese people are the same too. They have a low tolerance to alcohol, which is why they don't drink. And but Native people, when we drink, well, like anybody else, it just makes us stupid. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
Little more
It
crazy.
does. Yeah, crazy and yeah. So, but that was a good thing. So I was on a 2-year mandatory no alcohol. I had random urinalysis going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
So it was good.
They held you in check.
It held me in check. Yeah,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
at the time I could have very easily drank myself to death.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't.
Thanks.
What did you take up any hobbies or anything?
I did hot yoga.
Whoa. Jesus, man. I saw some people walking out of hot yoga, and I said to myself, I will never do hot yoga.
You look dehydrated.
Yeah, they looked like they were about to die. Jesus, how was it? And where did you do it?
It was brutal. I did it in North Delta. Bikram's hot yoga. They're shut down now. They shut down during the pandemic.
Oh, was that the same guy on the news?
That's right.
Oh,
Mark.
awesome.
Mark. He went a little bit overboard, and he's a anti this and anti that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no. When I started doing hot yoga, before that I did martial arts for 20 years, and my late buddy Neil would tell everybody that a black belt. I was never a black belt, but he'd brag for me that I was a black belt. And then when I started doing hot yoga, he'd go, I go, whatever, man, fuck you. You know, I said, come try it. And then after a year of teasing me, he came and tried it. And when he went down in class, he went down 3 times. And then he goes, after the class, he goes, Gary, I'm so sorry for teasing you.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I hate the heat.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not for everybody, but it's some nice yoga teachers for sure.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah. And last but not least, my daughter Natasha passed away last year just before Christmas.
Oh.
That was so tough.
Yeah,
And,
man.
she never stood a chance.
No.
She never stood a chance. Her mom started smoking crack with her when she was a teenager.
Jesus.
And I'm sure she did that just to spite me.
It's very possible.
Just to spite me. And Natasha started getting psychosis, and she was in mental institutions. And,
Oh, jeez.
it's just so sad. She was such a beautiful individual.
How was she like as a baby and a young child?
I seen her the day she was born. October 19th, 1985. I was in a hospital with her at St. Paul's. And I cried.
Yeah,
like
for
I'm
sure.
crying now.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just so tough, and her mom always used her as a tool against me.
Yeah.
As a tool. When Natasha was 1 month old, my late brother Bobby came over and he goes, "Gary, let's go out." I go, "No, I don't want to go out." And he kept bugging me. Bobby kept bugging me. He goes, "Gary, come on, let's go out." And I said, "No, I don't want to go out." Finally, he was bugging me for about a half an hour.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, let's go out." And then Kelly, she said, "No, you're not going out." I said, "I'm going to go out for a couple hours with my brother. I'm coming back." And she goes, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am." So we went out. It was November, and it was cold as fuck outside. And I was sitting in my car with my brother warming it up. And then Kelly came out with Natasha. And she laid Natasha on the hood of the car and walked away.
Oh, wow.
And she was only a month old.
Oh, wow.
Just a month. She always used her as a tool against me. And when Natasha was 5, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, I just, no, life's too short.
Yeah.
So I left. And on my own accord, I contacted Family Maintenance Enforcement Program, and what a bunch of men haters they are.
Yeah.
I can't believe I approached them and did that, and I paid child support for my daughter from when she was 5 till when she was 19, and the day that she turned 19, her mother kicked her out of her house because she wasn't going to be receiving any support from me anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just so sad. It's
That's heartbreaking.
it is. It is. It's everything, and everything that I've been through is heartbreaking. There's no good grief.
Yeah.
There's no good grief, and when I was in the Marine Corps, we had a private that didn't make it. He went out, and one of the drill instructors was saying, privates, you're going to have lost comrades throughout your life, and they're not going to make it, and they're not going to come back, but we got to keep on keeping on. And I always remembered that, and I know that every single one of my family members, my friends, all my loved ones that are gone and not here anymore, would want me to keep on keeping on. I know they're looking down and being proud of me.
For sure.
To keep on keeping on. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm keeping on keeping on. I'm going to live until I die.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to live until I die. When I was in Kelly's Academy of Martial Arts, there's a sign on the board, and it said, "Pain is inevitable, and suffering is optional." Grief is different, so different for every individual. It's all subjective, and each and every one. And for me, being in the Marines, and my own mental attitude is to never say die, never give up, never give up. And I'm a fighter till the end, man. I'll never give up. I'll never throw in a fucking towel.
That's awesome.
And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, because to tell you the truth, fuck, that's a lot
to carry.
That's a lot to carry, man.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I'm curious, what was your grieving process? How was it that you got through this far?
Well, really, you never get through it. It always stays with you.
Yeah.
And it'll always stay with me. I'll take all my grieving process with me till the day I die. But it's the way you deal with it, or the way I deal with it, and the way everyone else deals with it is different, right? Yeah. But it's...
Have you kind of almost adopted that warrior attitude towards it? I look at you as a big, strong, strong boy, right? So like I'm thinking like you're, a warrior. That's what I would call you. If anyone said, "Hey, what do you think of Gary when you met him?" I would say this guy's like, you do battle. You're a warrior.
Yesterday in Saskatchewan, with finding the 751 unmarked graves, they did a walk of sorrow. I've been doing a walk of sorrow for a very long time, but I do it with my head held up.
Yeah.
With my head up, my chest sticking out, and I'm being proud. I'm keeping on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think being a warrior is more than being physical. It's also mental.
Oh, 100%.
It's equal. It's a state of mind. You gotta be tough. You just gotta be tough, and you gotta just
power through it.
The thing is with everything, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't take anything back. If someone dies, well, you can't bring them back. They're dead. Yeah. It is what it is, and you have to accept that, deal with it, grieve, go through the grieving process, and there is a grieving process, and then eventually it's not as bad as it initially was.
Yeah.
But you never forget.
For sure.
Right.
You never forget. I'll never forget my 4 brothers, my mom, my dad, my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Your daughter.
My daughter.
And like, I mean, we as human beings, we all try to avoid pain. Most of us. But
We're
I
designed
think,
that way.
Yeah. So I can understand why people would use drugs or alcohol to numb that. And I'm like, did you ever do that? Did you ever?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There's that one line from one song. It goes, I use my drink to ease the pain of losing family. You know?
Yeah.
It's a coping mechanism for sure. And I still do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I still do it. To forget it does numb it.
Yeah, for sure. PTSD.
Yeah. But I try to keep a check on it. Keep it 80-20. 80% of the time I'm okay. I'm not staying away. I'm living healthy, living well, living good. 20% of the time I drink beer and eat pizza.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just go into I just want to go into something here. On the reserve there up in Kamloops, on the news the other day. Just want to say 100% slept like a baby. I actually enjoyed watching that church burn down. 2 churches on the reserve burning down like that.
It was like Mississippi burning in reverse.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing, like I just like everyone that knows me knows I have huge problems with the church, and it's not just the Catholic Church, it's many churches, and just the system, the way it's designed. They don't want to be held accountable. They got a team of lawyers basically telling them what not to say, what to apologize on, basically never apologize, because that's just going to cut. If they apologize, it's whatever.
Admission of guilt.
Yeah, the settlements come out times 3 or 4 or even 5 the amount that they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay. They cannot sweep this under the rug anymore. It's thank God for social media, because a lot of media companies never touched it, and if they did, it was very little coverage. So
I'm on the same page with you about churches. All throughout history, churches have demonstrated they're so hypocritical that that the gospel preaches love and everything else, and what the church does in the name of church is conquers this and conquers that, and they're after money, and that's all they want. They're hypocritical. Hypocritical. Kill them all. Let God sort them out.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. What do you like? Okay, so you in the earlier podcast, you said you do follow God.
I do.
In a
I
degree.
believe in God, and as you know, I have a lot of ink on me, and on my inner forearms, I have 2 crosses on each cross, and
Yeah.
that's my belief in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
wow.
Yeah.
I believe in spirituality, and that for sure, no, without a doubt. I believe in karma. What goes around comes around,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Do you like? I'm just taking a step back here. When they jumped in, that's okay. Mr. Gary Ryan has a phone call. You know what? Let's just take a little bit of a break, anyways. You want to take? No, okay. We'll keep running this through. That's awesome. That's. I'm just gonna step back here, like, as an outsider, kind of looking in. I really think, like, what I want to see come from this is I want to see proceeds of crime. I want to see the crimes that were committed in these places. Those places are no longer the property of the Catholic Church. I would like them to be seized.
Yeah.
And I would like them to be given to the Native Americans and Indigenous, and however the bands want to come together and deal with those properties, if they want to sell them, if they want to turn them into memorial sites, if they want to tear it down, whatever they want to do with them, no longer are they in the hands of the Catholic Church. Like, those are seized, and those are going into, they're no longer welcome.
I'm on the same page with you as that. You know, they could be utilized as learning centers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So for sure, without a doubt.
Because to tell you the truth, like, Christianity, they push this upon you guys. Your religion and your gods are way cooler than, to me, like, this is how I feel. Your religion and your own gods, that's who you guys should be celebrating. Like,
Exactly. You
Right?
know, that my sister's a Christian, and she's a Leona. She goes to church all the time, and I ask her, I go, what do you think happened to all the Native people before the white men came to this country? Did they go to hell because there's no Christianity? Are they all in hell now because there's no Christianity?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
It makes absolutely no
You know?
sense when you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of, like, I really hope that they can all come together. Like, what I hope comes out of this, like, first things first, a lot of us, we didn't know. Like, I asked a highly intelligent friend of mine, and he was like, I was like, because I was terrible in school, like, let's just be honest here, right?
Didn't you threaten your teachers to
You pretty much,
pass you,
teachers
basically?
got me through. But I was like, I looked at him, I was like, how did we not know this?
Yeah.
And he basically flat out said, no, man, like, this stuff was hidden. Like, this, they didn't want anybody to know this stuff. He didn't realize this stuff until they went into until he was in university. And there was other people that, that were in there that they basically booted out because this guy was, like, coming up with stats and facts and stuff, but they didn't want to hear it. They would basically call these guys liars and quacks.
It wasn't something people wanted to accept.
Yeah.
Or acknowledge, yeah.
Or acknowledge.
Especially if they were part of that faith. No, that
Yeah.
could never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it happened to people
All
all
over
over
the
the
world.
world. Not just First
Indigenous.
Nations or
Of
Indigenous
course,
people,
you know.
right? And what blows my mind is that nobody stopped it earlier. Like, this could have been stopped 100 years ago.
200 even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Justin Trudeau said when he was going to school, he knew nothing about what happened to Native people. It wasn't taught.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything. Just to backtrack a little bit, when I was talking to my sister Teresa today about everything that I was going to talk about today, she said that everything that happened to our family was a backlash of the Indian residential school.
Yeah.
everything, all the
All
drugs
ties
and
in.
alcohol.
All ties in.
It's just it's all connected.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's a pretty traumatic experience for a child to go through.
Oh, I was a little more
And
than
the
a
parents
baby.
and the
Yeah.
parents to go through. You
Yeah.
got the RCMP coming
Coming
there,
and
with
Taking the
basically their
children
guns,
away.
taking their kids
Yeah.
away.
They were the enforcers, and then the church. Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do.
Nothing. And I'm so surprised that it's I'm in shock that it was that, I thought, maybe I heard the term residential school, and I thought, okay, maybe it's like they just go there for 4 or 5 hours, or like how we went to school.
Yeah.
Like they'd get the skip, and I only showed up for a couple hours a day. But I thought it was something like that. But no, it's like you guys were living there.
Oh man, I was 5 years old when I went there, and I guess I was there for a year, so I would have been 6. And I was standing in front of the St. Michael's Indian Residential School, and I was trying to remember how Mom and Dad looked, and for the life of me, I couldn't remember how they looked like. I was standing there trying to think how Mom and Dad looked like, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Could not do it.
That's crazy to me. I don't, I really don't know how they're going to fix this. Like, you got the church and their lawyers, they're telling them what to say, what not to say. They're never going to admit it. It's the government's pointing the fingers at the church. The church is pointing the finger at the government, say, hey, we were just there to facilitate and, make this thing happen. And, yeah.
Okay, it kills, these people are supposed to be people of God. And how did they, I just don't understand. To me, it's insane that they could live with themselves.
Yeah.
Doing what they did.
Just to go a little bit further than that, I think that there was predators out there that basically had that hatred in them and knew that, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to go in there, slap some kids around, do molestations, do whatever that they could do, and have impunity. Yeah, no consequences.
Wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
And there's documented, and it's not just the men. There's documentation of the nuns
doing bad.
Stuff, sexual abuse, beating kids, the craziest, most terrible things that you probably ever could think about were done in these schools, right? Yeah. And all to strip someone from their culture, and because they were deemed animals or savages,
subhuman.
Yeah,
and,
subhuman.
For myself personally, looking back, it felt like I was sent to prison, and it felt like I got sent to prison for a crime I didn't commit.
Yeah.
And the only crime I committed was being born Indigenous.
Yeah.
And nobody has a choice of what you want born. When you come into this world, you don't say, I want to be white, I want to be black, I want to be male, I want to be female. Yeah. It's like Popeye says, I am what I am.
Yeah.
I did not choose the way I am.
Yeah. That's... I don't know, man. That church, to me, I could tell you one thing right now, my grandma was heavily involved in the church. Gave I'm sure 10% her whole life, so it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if she knew how Indigenous and babies and people were treated, she would not have given them $1. I can tell you that right now. That's how much I loved my grandma. And she was blinded by the stuff that they pumped down people's throats, and the lies and the manipulation. And she thought she was doing good, and which she did. My grandma was awesome. Yeah. But if she would have known the true facts of what was going on in the inner workings of the church, and how it's basically top to bottom, It's corrupt. They hid all the abuse. They don't want to admit to it because they're gonna have to pay more money.
It hurts business.
Yeah, it hurts their business.
It's more. It's not even
a business.
It's a business. I look at the churches and especially the ones that you see on TV. That's just all business. They don't care about anybody.
They're all after money.
Yeah.
No.
That's it. That's the bottom line for the church, and that's the way it's always been for the church.
Yeah.
Money and land.
And how they wrangled that they don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
On contributions. Like how does that?
I think that the churches should be taxed 50%, and all that money should go to all the help that the indigenous people are going to need, and anybody that they have wronged. That because let's just get one thing straight. It's expensive. When you're dealing with psychologists and we're dealing with, all the trauma that, thousands of people, we're not talking like 10 or 20, like we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that are affected, if not millions. It goes down, like you said, it gets passed down generation. And to all the people that think, oh, fuck, they should suck it up and get over it. Those guys are dickheads.
Yeah.
They don't know, like, they're just being dickheads. They don't understand. Like, my mom's sister was murdered. It's still hard for me to watch murder shows because every time I think of somebody getting killed and these murder shows are so awesome. Did you see CSI this, and this? Yeah. I think of my mom, like seeing my mom's face and the pain that she went through to have her sister fucking murdered. So it's one of the things I never watch. I just can't. If it's a good gangster movie, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like that's a little different, right? Because bad people are hurting bad people. But when it comes to these, fucking CSI like and all this bullshit, serial killer stuff, I can't do it, and that's trauma, right? Like that's seeing my mom, what she had to go through, or my grandma, and then them talking about it. It doesn't interest me. Yeah. Right.
It triggered memories like when Tom was talking about taxes and a year that, all this time Indians don't pay taxes. I've been paying taxes my whole entire life, and the only way to set this straight for the people listening is that the only way Native people don't pay taxes is you have to live on a reserve, you have to work on a reserve. Yeah. It's that simple. Otherwise, you got to pay taxes.
Everybody,
I've been paying taxes my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Yeah. No, nobody does. Nobody does. We all pay taxes, even when you buy something. You're paying taxes. Sure. So.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it off right here. We're gonna do a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna regroup and come back and talk about
badass cops.
Okay, we're back from break. Let's rock and roll.
Alrighty. Man, these beers are going down way too quick.
Way too good.
Like I'm
only on my even third. Drinking.
I'm on my third, but I think I'm still hungover from yesterday.
Yeah.
So I drank quite a bit yesterday.
Okay, man, here we are. We're back from break. Just want to go into a couple more things with Mr. Gary Ryan. Canada Day is coming up. For myself, I'm not celebrating Canada Day. I don't think I'll ever celebrate Canada Day again until the Catholic Church is told that they're no longer welcome in Canada. That's just kind of how I feel. Something has to happen with that. They need the apology. They need to restitution, pay something. That's how I feel.
I never liked Canada Day. I never did. But, in light of all the unmarked graves in Saskatchewan and Kamloops, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. They estimate there's over 10,000 children that are buried all over Canada. Yeah. There's calls for to have Canada Day declared a national day of mourning, which I fully support.
I get on board with that 100%.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in a few days.
Yeah.
So it's Thursday of next week.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not attacking anybody that wants to celebrate Canada Day. I just think that something needs to happen here. Like something big needs to happen here. Catholic Church, they basically have to like tell their lawyers to fuck off and come in here as human beings. And if you think you want to be of God and men of God, then you don't need lawyers telling you what not to say and what to say. Come here, acknowledge it. You had a hand in it. Anybody that had a hand in it needs to be held accountable.
Without a doubt. And this, the weird thing is with this whole pandemic that we've been in the last coming on to 2 years now, almost. With the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter and the black people down the States get it, and Native people up here get it. We're the black people of Canada. That's
for sure.
It's just weird how the pandemic has opened the door, so to speak, for everything that's been going on for centuries.
Yeah, because, the majority of people, they're not working. Everyone was... So you have all this information and you're starting to realize, oh, shit, this actually happened. Like, if you told somebody 30 years ago, let's just a scenario here. If some guy came up to a crowd of kids or teenagers and told them some of the stuff that was happening to the indigenous people, they would have fucking punched this guy in the face, called him a quack and a liar, bullshitter. That's just, that's just because how can you grasp what happened?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you grow up in a community, I mean, I grew up in Prince Rupert.
Yeah.
Prince Rupert, Kitimat. There was indigenous people there.
Lots.
So you see a lot of things that that as a kid you think, why are these people acting this way? Why are unfortunately as a kid I was too young to really understand anything.
Yeah, for sure.
About that. But I mean, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Seeing some of the kids come to class and there's something wrong.
Without a doubt. When I was in the United States Marine Corps, we learned about nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. We called it NBC, as well as conventional warfare. But my wife brought home a magazine the other day, and in a front page they're advertising Hudson's Bay blankets, and it just turned my stomach because Hudson's Bay blanket was utilized to infect with smallpox and given to the native villages and to decimate all the native villages. It would just wipe out villages, and that was biological warfare before it was called biological warfare. And they didn't infect these blankets with smallpox.
Wow.
Scumbags. Yeah, all because they thought their way of life was better than your guys' way of life.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Well, yeah, the conquerors, they've done that all over the world.
Yep.
They've wiped out complete people,
races, and communities.
Yeah, there's islands, in South America, but islands where they wiped out the whole community. Everybody's gone.
It's sad but true.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Sad but true.
Yeah, and they take what they want, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's hard to wrap your head around it. You think, oh fuck, we're in Canada, like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Media plays a huge role in this. Like they hit they were on board with hiding it. Pressure from the government.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that government lawyers got in contact with media outlets and said, hey, if you press this too hard or you start running these type of stories, like we're cutting funding, it's all connected.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think now with social media, that's the key. I
Yep.
mean,
You
as
can't
long as-
hide it anymore.
No, unfortunately, with social media, you also get misinformation.
Yeah, for sure.
And lying, people lying.
Yeah.
But it allows us to see into the world of people, or a world, their country, or whatever's going on at that time. We get to see firsthand what's going on, unfiltered.
Yeah, instead of a narrative crafted to however they want us to see it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Just to close up here, as a white guy, or not white, I guess entirely. I'm Croatian, Dutch, Serbian, Austrian.
You're white. You're white. Dude, you're Euro trash.
I
is what
know,
you
I
are.
know. I wish I had some Syrian in me or something too, right? To Middle Eastern or something. But anyways, like,
And we're probably,
Yeah.
to be honest,
Yeah.
we're probably, there's probably some Turkish
Yeah.
mixed in there.
You know how many
Because
people say I look
Serbia-
Chinese?
Really?
I get it all the time, man.
Could be Genghis Khan, man.
Yeah, I
You know
I
what
get it all the time. I got to do that ancestry history or whatever
Yeah.
thing, man.
Probably Genghis Khan and his brother Don.
Absolutely. Like I say though, just as let's just call it a spade then. As a white dude, what do you need? Like, what do you guys feel that you need from us?
Well, definitely not pity.
Yeah.
We're not looking for pity. Understanding, I think it would be a big thing.
Yeah.
Understand what we're going through. For me, being a survivor of Indian residential
Yeah.
school, the understanding and the pain that I've been through, and tens of thousands of Native people have been through. It's and support.
Yeah, for sure.
Support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that we're gonna see how this is gonna unfold. Like we got months and months, and it's gonna be years, but there's gonna be bodies after bodies and graves after graves.
Unfortunately.
Right,
yeah.
right now,
Unfortunately, yeah.
with a 751 in Saskatchewan and 215, that's the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be unmarked graves found all over Canada and with the Indian residential schools.
The crazy thing is that they've been making movies about things like this happening for decades.
Documentaries, yeah.
No, not even documentaries, just movies. It's like it's almost like this has kind of been common knowledge that this has happened,
Yeah.
but now they're finding the real evidence, which I find is, it's why did it take this long?
Well, they
Because
always knew
media because media crafts a narrative and a story that they want you to to hear or adhere to or believe. Like I say, like anybody else who came up with something and said, hey, this and this had happened, the first thing, like even politicians would be like, no, you're a liar, like your facts are wrong.
Yeah.
It just
Well, I guess it comes down on also like, what are we being taught in schools? Really, we're being taught nothing.
yeah.
We're not learning about all the bad things that the you know what I mean. Well, the Canadian government controls the narrative there. The American
sure.
government controls the narrative, or the
Curriculum.
education. Yeah, the curriculum.
For sure.
I mean, I just heard about that crap that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What
You
happened?
didn't hear about that?
No, what? When?
Oh, they basically wiped out a whole, I guess, neighborhood of black people, and they were air bombing them They were
Yeah,
throwing dynamite into crowds of people, killing them, and they burned the whole place was leveled, burned to the ground.
That was
they-
Black Wall Street.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Wall
for
Street.
sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they made it a national holiday.
Oh, just recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Joe Biden.
for sure, 100%. They were
Unbelievable. Like I never heard of that as a kid.
Yeah.
Growing up, never heard anything about that. You know,
No, neither did I.
Americans
For sure.
are good people. They go in,
Yeah.
They help people.
They help people. Yeah, they help
Red
countries.
Cross.
They help countries.
Red Cross.
Sure.
Donate to the Red Cross.
Right.
We're gonna spread this money and wealth around. We help people.
There you go.
Absolutely. Like hey, like we grew up in the ghetto, man. Like in the hood here. I like to consider myself an underdog. If like one of my good friends is Kw'as, I consider him a brother. Shout out to Kw'as Johnson. If any time somebody would have came up to me and told me these are the things that were happening and this is why I don't want to say it like with malice or anything, but this is why that community is doing some of the things that they have done, like with alcohol abuse and just because they're hurting and they're in trauma and they need help, right? Like for fuck's sakes, like a lot of these places don't even have clean drinking water. I don't want to celebrate Canada Day when people don't have clean drinking water in Canada. Let's fix those things first. It's crazy to me.
It is crazy, and we've been talking a lot about the Indian residential school today, and for any listeners out there that have been triggered by our conversation, there is a national Indian residential school crisis line, and it is 1-866-925-4419. Once again, that national Indian residential school crisis line is 1-866-925-4419.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I 100% agree with what you just said there. I do have a little bit of a angst about it because these are the same lines that are put together by the government which cause some of these problems. Like I would love to see the government cut them $100 million check right now and have native indigenous people take over these lines to help, if they're qualified or get people qualified. It might take 2 years, but get them qualified and let them handle this as well. It just seems kind of almost like, hypocritical to me. We got a crisis line here, but it's from the government, set up by the government, paid by the government. I don't know. But definitely call the number if you do need help, because any help is better than anything or no help. But I think they can fix that little couple crinkles or whatever that is. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Or maybe I'm just drinking too many Budweisers here.
Yeah. I'd like to end it with a couple of lines from the Black Eyed Peas. Where's the love?
Yeah.
Nice.
Whatever happened to the values of humanity? Whatever happened to fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down. There's no wonder why sometimes I'm feeling under. Gotta keep my faith above love is found. Now ask yourself, where is love? Where is love? Where is love?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. I really appreciate coming out. Thanks, Tommy P.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
No last name, Tommy Boy. Thanks, Tommy Boy, for sitting in on this. Yeah, we're definitely gonna see what's gonna happen here in the next couple months or so. So, thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
Thank you for
man.
having me.